everybody, welcome back to another episode of Project C.A.R. So in the previous two episodes we took out the entire interior, as in the seats are gone, the rear seats are gone, and we've removed the carpet. So in this particular episode we'll be starting on the dashboard. So we're going to remove the bottom half of it and we'll start working on the top half. And then depending how quick we go, we might have to do that in two episodes, so we'll split in half and then do the latter half in the next episode. But for now we'll go and get ourselves ready and we'll start working on the front dashboard. Right then, so now that the seats are removed we can continue with removing the rest of the dash, and we'll start by removing the trim, which is held in with a number of screws. To be exact, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 screws and possibly 2 further in the corner which are missing in my case, so there might be 11. For this we're going to use a standard Phillips screwdriver. We're going to undo them all and then we're going to lift the piece out in one go. Right, it seems we have to remove a few other panels first, so let's have a look to see what we need to do in order to remove the big piece on top, and then we'll get back to removing that. Okay, so it seems that in order to get some space and remove the switches, we have to remove the panels that are underneath it first. So for that, again, we'll use the Phillips screwdriver, possibly use a short one to get better access, and then we should see how we can remove the rest of them. So the left one is held down by 2 small screws in the far back, or 3 actually. There's one. And we'll remove the switch in a minute. Now it's time to remove the other one, and that has got 2 screws at the top and then it clips in at the bottom. Now that's done, that's almost loose. Now you'll see there is a little bracket here on the side which we'll have to remove. For that we'll need a flat screwdriver, and then it should very gently pop down where we can remove the last screw inside. Once that's loose we can pop it out and we should now be able to remove the entire panel. There we go. So now it's just held down by a couple of wires, and we can either look at the diagram, mark them up. Since I'm going to replace the whole wire, I'm just going to undo them so we can remove the panel. And there we go. Seems the mice have been busy inside my dashboard as well, so be interested to see what else we can find. If I remember, this is one of the diagnostic plugs that we won't be using anymore, but if you're keeping it to factory standard then you probably want to put that back at the end. Right, so there we go, 2 panels removed, which now means that this section is indeed almost loose. I think we have to remove one more switch at this end. We'll have to remove the glove box first, and we'll probably do ourselves a favour by removing the centre side panels as well. Okay, so first off we're going to remove this side panel. I've always seemed to have lost quite a few screws, but there's plenty left that hold it in. So we're going to remove these 2 here and those 2, and then that should hopefully allow us to pull this side panel out. So it's held down somewhere still, probably here. By the bracket underneath the center console. So I'll remove these 2 screws next, and then hopefully that will drop out the center panel itself. Right, so that's the first one now loose. We'll have to do the same thing at the other side. We'll have to pick up the radio before it drops down, and hopefully we should be able to pull this out in one go. So same on this end. Alright, so now he's loose. There we go. Just making sure there's nothing inside the glove box that holds it together. What on earth is that? Oh, it seems my other light has just died as well. Oh no, a little bit life left. Nothing that looks like any screws in here. One small little bracket there, which is the switch for the glovebox light. So we'll unplug that one, and then we should be able to pull the center side panel out. That's two. And now he is loose, so we can gently start pulling it out. Right, it seems we need to drop out the glovebox first, because if you have a look with me, the switch here is actually being blocked by the glovebox itself. So in order to drop it down, we'll have to remove this framework that holds it in place. So I'll have a quick look where we need to remove the screws in order to drop it down. The other option is we'll just quickly remove these screws with a Phillips screwdriver, and what looks to be a size 6 ratchet, and we'll just pop these two out. It should drop down and then allow us to pull it forward. Alright, so remember where I said we're going to need a size 6. I think actually it's an 8. So our aim is to remove this one here and that one there, which are being held in by a Phillips screw and a size 8. I think it's 8. Let's have a look. Might actually be 6. No, definitely not 6. It'll be 7. Sorry, 8. We'll remove those, and then that should drop down, and we can remove the center panel altogether. Now that's dropped down far enough to remove the little switch on the side. So now hopefully we'll be able to pull it all out. And there we go. Seems mine was in a very poor condition, where the wood is already severely damaged, so the brackets are just literally fallen off. But that's it, that's the center console out, or at least the side panels. And now we can start to see it's getting more and more free. Now my two screws in the sides, which drill into the side front, this one and exactly the same the other side, these have, looks like they've just had it, and they're not biting into anything, so we'll probably have to put a flat screwdriver behind it as we push and screw at the same time. And we'll do the same trick at the other side. It turns out this light switch here is actually still holding it in place. So we'll have a quick look behind it, see what bracket holds it.
Right, so clearly I think we'll need to remove these wires here in order to get this little unit out. So we'll walk in these wires and hopefully that will remove that one. So let's get to work.
Right, so according to the handbook, we need a special tool to remove this disc in order to pop the frame up. So unfortunately, I don't have that tool. However, it looks like with the two little prongs on the side, we might be able to get it off with some pliers. So we'll give that a shot and see if we can get any standard tools in order to remove the unit, the item. And there we go. So the tool I ended up using is this, not even sure what it's called, to be honest. I have to do some research on that. But it's these, you use it to remove securing rings. So if I squeeze it, it splits apart. And it actually fit exactly into, I don't know where I've left it now. It's fallen down here, so there it is. So actually, squeezing it lightly, it fitted in nicely in between. So that then allowed us to unscrew it. So what we'll do is we'll just screw it back in place just to make sure we don't lose it. As you can see how it works, this big thread screws into the unit itself that holds it into place. So we'll screw that back on to not lose it, and we'll screw on the end cap as well. And there you go, that's our high beam switch, back fully operational, other than it's not wired up. So what was supposed to be a 5-minute job has taken us a lot longer, but we should now be able to remove the center panel itself. There we go. So it's a bit tight with all the other framework still around it. I've got some more wires here actually. We'll just pull them off. 1, 2, 3, and now we're home free. And there you go. Center panel of the cover plate has been removed. So let's put all that nicely away in our storage, and then we can continue removing probably the steering wheel, though we've got a nice little prong sticking out of which you can hurt yourself on, so you might want to cover that up. But it'd be best to remove this if we've got some more working space. We'll remove the rest of the center console, the glove box. Right, so last but not least, we're going to remove the glove box before we call it a day. So we'll have a look on how to do that, and we'll remove it, put it with the rest of the interior. Now, as you can see, this has been held down by 3 big screws with a axiom bolt. So we'll grab the correct socket wrench, and we'll remove these 3, and that should drop down the glove box. And then there we go, that's another one loose. So seems the light isn't playing ball. We'll just fiddle that through, and there we go, glove box removed. So last but not least, before we move on to the next episode, is we're going to remove the radio since it's hanging loose here. Now I've actually put in a new radio previously, just to upgrade the old one. The old one itself, I believe, is held together by 2 wires. Just have a little look what yours is like, and just unplug the wires and you should be able to remove the radio unit itself. So in my case, we'll have to pull off the front end, which is held in place by the back. Now there are a lot of wires here. There we go, that's removed. We'll remove the antenna switch itself, and that's one radio removed. So what have we got left? Got the steering wheel, the heater, the panel, panel around the gear lever, and then we can get on with the woodwork itself. So I've decided we're going to remove the steering wheel as well. Just to clear this up, we have better access to everything. The only thing you have to remember is that the steering column will be sticking out. So what I'm going to use is this old little wash-up sponge that we're going to stick to the end in order to stop us from banging our head on it. So first we need to remove the horn button in the middle, and that just simply pulls off. It's held in by these 3 little prongs. So we'll pull that off, and then you'll see there's a big nut in its place. So we'll get another ratchet out. This time we'll be using 22mm size. Hold the steering wheel in place, and there we go. Once that's off, we can pull out the steering wheel. There we go. And as I said, you now have got this nasty piece sticking out. So just put the nut back on so we don't lose it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a bit of tape and wrap that around it. So remember when I said at the beginning that it's very important that you have a good filing system to inventorize what you have. So what I've done is I've gone online to your usual eBay type sites, and I've bought 500 of these 700 millimeters. Basically, they're like Chinese takeaway boxes, super cheap. I think I paid like 10 quid for 500 of them. So we're going to put all of the dashboard fittings in here, so all the screws, the bolts, nuts, washers and everything's going to go in here. I'll write on it what it is. I'm going to call this number 1 with dashboard fittings or fixtures, and then we'll put that away. So let's get cracking. And there we go, all boxed up, ready to be put away for later use. Hey guys, and unfortunately that is it for this particular episode. That's all we have time for. So as you can see, what I thought was going to be a very easy, quick job turns out to be a very lengthy operation, and as such we'll have to split it into 2 sections. So in the next episode you will watch me removing the heater and the rest of the trim, the wooden part, which seems to be the very difficult part of this, for which you might even have to remove the front window, so we'll see. For now, unfortunately this is it, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and like, post the comments you have, any questions, queries, love to hear them, let me know. And then we'll see you again in 2 weeks time, in which we'll continue the dashboard, and I promise you we will not stop until that's completely out. So until then, have a nice time and I'll see you then. Bye bye.